Go.
Uncle Mike, can I come to your house in 4 minutes?
Please.
Please?
Why you want to go there?
I want to play with the dog.
You want to play with the dog?
Yes.
Okay, well, ask Uncle Mike and Auntie Nikki. How about Auntie Nikki? Why don't you say, Auntie Nikki, can I come?
Uncle Nicky.
Auntie!
Auntie Nicky, can I come? Uncle Mike, can I go to your house in 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Can I come to your Uncle Mike, can I come in your house in 10 minutes?
No, 10 minutes. Hi guys. Welcome back. So I thought I'd do this video this morning. I couldn't sleep last night. I'm thinking all night about certain things, and I see all these videos online, you know, these YouTube videos about how to retire in the Philippines, and I'm thinking, you know, what a bunch of dingleberries. So I'm gonna join the group of dingleberries and give you my opinion piece. This is not a how-to video. This is an opinion piece on how to retire in the Philippines. And you can forget about all the other stuff. You can forget about where you're gonna live, Bohol, here, Dumaguete, Davao, Mindanao. You forget about all that stuff. Forget about are you gonna rent or are you gonna buy something? Forget about that. The only thing that you need to know to retire in the Philippines is how much money do you have in the bank. That's the end of the video. That's the whole video. You don't need any other thing. You don't need to know anything else. All you need to know is how much money do you have in the bank. And let me give you an example. Let's say you're going to retire there, and you're going to figure out how many years you're going to need. How much money you're going to need every year for how many years. And so, I don't know, let's say you're 70 years old, and you're going to live to be 90. We don't know when it's going to be our time, but this is just for argument's sake. I would say, you know, per month, I spend more than this when I'm there, but I would say the average person going to spend about $1,500 per month. Okay, and that's squeaking by. You're going to need $1,500 per month. Now, $1,500 per month is what? Like, I don't know, $18,000? So let's just say you're gonna need 20 grand, right? So let's just say you're gonna need $20,000 a year. So $20,000 a year times 20 years is $400,000. So if you want to retire in the Philippines for 20 years, you need about 400 grand in the bank. Keep in mind that 400 grand doesn't factor into any medical needs if you need some type of medical procedure. You know, the cost of healthcare in the Philippines since the pandemic has doubled. So I just want to let you guys know. And I speak from experience on that, okay? Of course, you're going to get sick in the Philippines. It's just a matter of how often it's just a matter of how often you're going to get sick, okay? But you will get sick. You will need a doctor. You will have to get antibiotics at some point because of all the bacteria down there. Whether it's something you eat, whether it's something you breathe into your lungs or whatever, sore throat, fever. Here, I think in the U.S., a lot of people get sick from viruses. And I think in the Philippines, and I'm not a doctor, and this is no scientific proof, this is just an opinion. I think a lot of the times as a foreigner I get sick there, it's not from viruses, it's from bacteria. In bacteria, you need antibiotics. So not a lot of people who retire in the Philippines has 400 grand in the bank. And so they're relying on their Social Security. And most people don't have a $2,500 a month Social Security check. If you did, you'd already have 400 grand in the bank. If you're one of those people who don't have 400 grand in the bank, you're probably most likely in the $1,200 to $1,500 a month Social Security check. Me personally, I don't factor in Social Security into my retirement plan because I'm only 53. I don't know if it'll even still be there by the time I retire. And who knows, am I going to take my retirement at 62, 65? Most likely I'll probably wait until I'm a little bit older, 65-ish. You get a little bit more, I don't know. But I'm not really, that's not really a factor for me. And then you got these expats who go there and they don't have enough money, so they have to do a business. They have to have some type of income because they either don't have Social Security or their Social Security is not enough. What kind of business would you start? I can only speak for me personally and compare it to what I see on other people's videos and how hard you have to work in the Philippines to make, money. For me, the best route was our Airbnb business, which involves real estate, which involves buying a piece of real estate in a touristy, in an area where you're gonna, attract tourists. You're not gonna attract tourists in the Magsaysay Mountains where Lynn's from. You're not gonna have an Airbnb business over there. Could you have an Airbnb business in Taliban? Maybe for like the expats who go there and don't want to stay in a hotel, but those would be the only people you're going to get. I don't think you're going to get Filipinos to stay in an Airbnb in Taliban. I don't think people are really traveling there as a tourist. I don't know anybody that says that comes to Anda and stays at our place and has Taliban on their bucket list places to see. So we built our place in Anda, and I built my place for that one reason, to have an investment property, place to invest my money to make some money. From day one, from the day I bought that place, this was a very well thought out plan. From the day I even looked at that property, it wasn't something like, after we built it, let's do Airbnb. No, from before I even put 1 peso down on that property, I already had a plan. And the plan was to make money. The plan was to buy that property and make it into an income property, investment property. And so far, we've done pretty good, I have to say. I have to say that we've done really well. And when I compare what I make, what I can make, what I have made, or what I have been making over there, and I compare it to some of the other people who I see their YouTube videos, what they're making and what they're doing to make that money, I'm thinking, wow, I don't want to go to the Philippines and work that hard just to make a couple $100. Even if it is, my passion is fishing. I don't want to spend 8 hours a day out in the brutal sun fishing just to make $200 a week, So the Airbnb is the way to go for me, and I think that would be the way to go for a lot of people if you need a little side hustle. If you need a side hustle because you don't have enough income or you don't have a retirement income at all, and you can make good money on Airbnb as long as the tourists are in town, as long as the tourism is at 100% capacity, you can do really well. And I've proven that to myself. And because I take what I've earned on a nightly basis, factor that into a weekly basis, and I compare it to what I see or what other guys are doing and just on YouTube. And I'm pretty happy with what I've accomplished over there, because we're getting anywhere from $50 to $100 a night for our place. And if someone stays for 3 nights, that's a good weekly check. And I have 2 villas, don't forget. And there were times before the pandemic where we were booked solid for weeks on end with both villas. And you weren't just making money on the villas, you were making money. So the way our Airbnb business worked is we included breakfast in the price. Because in Anda, where are you going to go for breakfast? There's nowhere to go. You have to drive all the way to the town. And so you really shoot yourself in the foot if you don't include breakfast in your price. And at the time, we had a ton of chickens. We had plenty of eggs. You go out in the backyard, you grab a couple of farm fresh eggs, a couple of slices of bacon, a couple of slices of toast. For Filipinos, they got their rice and tocino. It was pretty easy. I mean, I wake up in the morning and cook breakfast for myself anyways. So what am I really doing extra? Nothing. I mean, what is the work involved in Airbnb? You have to have a nice place. I mean, the hardest part is building it. After that, you're not doing anything that you don't normally do in the course of a day. You wake up, you cook breakfast, you have lunch, you have dinner, and sometimes the guests will pay for lunch and pay extra for dinner. Not always, because they're out and about, guys. They come, they wake up early, they have their breakfast at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and then they're out the door. And you don't see them again until 8 o'clock at night. There were a couple of times where we had a guest stay for a weekend, and it was a foreigner. This happened more than once. It was a foreigner, and they were by themselves. And I know exactly what happened. That he had met somebody, he come over there, and had already booked this stuff before he came. Because people in the U.S., in the Western countries, they're freakishly obsessed with having to have an itinerary, a pre-booked plan before they even step off the plane. And that's not really how things work in the Philippines. I mean, in the Philippines, you go day to day. And I can understand someone want to come over here and make sure everything was booked, they weren't left in the cold. But that's really going to happen in the Philippines. There's always a place to stay. Anda can book up. I have to say though that Anda can get booked up pretty quickly sometimes because it's a small area. We don't have a lot of rooms in Anda. It's a very small town. But this gentleman, so going back to this guy, this happened more than once. I seen it more than once at my place, where a guy will come, book a place for the weekend, and he'll be all by himself. And it's kind of heartbreaking because I know exactly what happened. They came over here, they met somebody, and it didn't work out. But he had already booked the place, and Airbnb, you can't cancel. You lose the money. And then you get a bad rating if you cancel. And then nobody wants to take you. So, so he came, and he spent, other than breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he spent the whole time in his room. It was very sad, very sad. And I've seen that more than once in Anda. But, as far as the businesses go, if you need a side hustle or you want an actual business, just because, some guys, some people, they just want to work. They might not even need the money. That's just their ethic. That's just who they are. They like to be busy. And honestly, in the Philippines, you can run out of things to do. I mean, it's hot all day, yeah. So I don't know. But the 2 businesses that I would recommend would be Airbnb, and the other one would be a building business, a contractor. I don't care. So Lynn and I, we didn't have a lot of experience. We made a couple of mistakes, but it doesn't matter in the Philippines how much experience you have. What matters when you're building a house are a couple of things: materials and your labor force. I don't care how experienced you are coming from the U.S. if you're a builder or not. If you don't have the right workers and you don't buy the right materials in the Philippines, you ain't gonna build a nice place. And I would put more emphasis on the workers than somewhat on the materials. But you got to use good cement. You got to use good steel. You got to find good hollow blocks. Hollow blocks, there's a big debate on that. Well, you don't really need quality hollow blocks because they're not load bearing. They're just there to make a wall and as a filler to put the cement in the holes. So it doesn't matter if they crumble, but it does matter because you can't put the rendering on it if the hollow blocks are crumbling. You can't put tiles on the wall if you want that. The tiles will fall off. The hollow blocks fall apart. I had a whole section of the back of my house where I had to take it all down because the hollow blocks were no good. The rendering was falling off after it had dried. And it turned out that the hollow blocks were no good. So materials and labor, skilled labor, matters more than however much experience you have in the Philippines. So being a builder, contractor, and having an Airbnb business, I think those are really the two more successful ways to make money in the Philippines. But this video was supposed to be about retirement. So like I said, forget about all that other stuff. Forget about where you're going to live, you're going to rent, you're going to buy. All you need to know is how much cash do you have. No money, no honey. If you don't have the cash, stay home, go there for a vacation, go for a month, and then go home. You need money. That's the only thing you need if you want to retire in the Philippines. You need money. Because I don't know anyone that's going to retire in the Philippines by themselves. You're going to either have a girlfriend or you're going to have a spouse. And no matter what you have, whether it's a girlfriend or a spouse, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay for the mother, the father, the uncle, the brother, the sister, the grandmother. You're going to end up paying. You might not pay, you might not give them money. I mean, Lynn comes from a very, very, very respectable family who not once has any one of them ever asked me for a penny. Not once. But it doesn't mean you don't spend money on them. You might, buy a lechon, take a trip, you bring the whole family with you. You might bring pasalubong over, birthdays. Birthdays are big in the Philippines. So, your wife or your spouse might want to give their parents a big birthday party, so you might end up spending some money on that. So that's what I mean, what you're going to spend money on. I mean, I've never been asked or given straight out dollars to any of Lynn's family. Not once. Doesn't mean I haven't spent money on them. Just I've never physically given them money. So, anyways, that's my video. I don't know how much I'll have to edit, but to retire in the Philippines, you need one thing: money. Money, honey.